Hey guys, welcome back. Custom built for play go mode. Hey, got some kind of good advice for this thing here. As far as the suspension. Um, Now, as you can see, camera's still on and all. Yeah. I had a little run. This stuff will wash back off again. All my methods still work. It wipes off tint. You see that stuff? Just something I added on playing around. Took the windows off. That was all. But back to this here. Now, as far as the suspension, now the first thing I came across was that I'm gonna use something small so you can see, so my, I guess, fat sausage fingers or long sausage fingers wouldn't be in the way. Okay. Who says you can't use Redcat parts for everything? It's the blackout shaft. But this here. Now, if you look in there, right, you'll see that if you have one of these, you have a hole here, and one in the middle here. Now, this is the one that it usually comes in, that top one up there. Let me do that again. One here, and one in the middle, which is the one that I set this for. Now, it comes in this one at the top. I'm gonna let you guys see that. It comes in that one at the top. You can even see the grooves in it. But if you wanna go lower, we'll just take a drill bit or something like that. This is not maybe not the proper size. Yeah, this is not the proper size, but you can just take one of these by hand and just get the new hole and just turn it a little. Now, that'll make it so that the holes are bigger. Now, to get here, to get the shock to stretch down to here, you will have to trim this off here. Just trim a little. And if you can see I just took a sander. I have a little small hand sander, and just put it on there and just trim that back a little bit, so that's the arm there, that little flat piece, can slide down. Other than that, I had about maybe, as you can see, about maybe this much space that was in the way from the point of the shaft, that little tip that's sticking out, all the way down to here. So that's how I ended up getting that out the way. You have to do this for each. You will have to do this for each tire. And also, I had a little accident here. Clipped the rock right down the middle. But hey, I fixed that a little easy. But I'll get another one of these. That's nothing. It just split at the top. But you'll have to do that with that. And it does give you a nice ride height. It's not so much wear and tear on the shocks, but also too, these shocks, and surprising, nobody has even thought about this, and I'm not understanding why, but I'm going to show you something with these shocks. And I'm going to turn it down a little more. I'm going to pop it all the way out. Because these shocks are like, I would think they're too small. They're not long enough, I would say. Not too small and not long enough. Because I'm kind of like, now, me, myself, I like to get the max out of my cars. So I know Redcat wasn't intending on this here. But me, like I said, I want the max. And you have about maybe, I would say, 2 inches of rod height to play with once you drop this all the way down. You just have to make sure your dog bones are long enough. And that's about it. Look at that. That's about 2 inches of rod height, even if I wanted to go to the top hole. Or 3. But, and if I had, and also too, when you're driving, this spring is going to tear your shocks up because you have the right amount of resistance. But if your arms can come down this far, that means this space from here to here and here is not going to match up. So every time you hit a bump and this tire slams down, you're going to hit the bottom. And that's how people usually blow out their shocks. It's nothing but a rod with a little circle with holes so the oil can scoop through. And it's a tight fit, but it does its job. But if I wanted to, you know, even just say bigger shocks, that would be the best thing to say. Because look at that. Now I'm gonna back up some and let you. I don't know if you can see the difference in that, but I'm gonna take this wire here and basically put it across. This pole here, and put it across. Now I'm gonna come down on a lower angle so you can see actually the space that I have. Now if this is flush against one side, this is even. That space I have to play with. So at least that much more shock room I can use. So, and that's before it slams down and hit the chastity here. Because right now it's just resting on the chest. The dog bone is just a little close to the edge there. And that's why I was saying, if you can see it, let me get a good right there. And then you can see it's out. It's usually in more that way. But yeah, so that's why I say a longer dog bone for that. And like I said, I'm pushing this back into place and look at the room that I have to get it back up there. So I'm going to find something that I can put on there, whereas though I can take advantage of that extra space. Because also too, I've been using on this scale only, I've been using dampers, but my dampers are springs. And what I mean by that is I'm going to leave that off. I'll put that back. I don't never stop anything unless I'm putting anything. I'm going to fix it right back. And what I mean by that, I don't know if you can see in there, but you see that extra spring in there? Now you have spring here, and also I have that spring in there. And I just make sure that's lined up right. I just took it off track, but that gives it a whole lot more, resistance without blowing out my back shocks. And also, you can see here is where I grinded the shocks. The arms down so I can fit the shocks. As you can see, this is the rear one now. So I grinded this little area off right here. I just grinded that off, like I said, so that little flat surface at the bottom of the shaft can get into that. If not, then I'll be stuck and it'll be up here somewhere, and it'll never reach, unless I had a longer shaft in there, which I'm going to probably try to play with something like that and find some old shaft that'll fit inside here and just run it down one day. Who knows? But I think that I'll do it eventually. But that's about it. And from here, and this is before all this damage here, scraping against the rocks and all, jumping, bottoming out, is more or less in the back. My front is pretty much good. Like I said, it's just the back of my chest. But from what I see too, if I'm gonna go up in the motor too, I'm gonna go back down in tires and run that first. These tires are I broke those in, so tires are not the issue for me now. It's just that they are just a tad, I would say, grippy. They're a little too grippy for me with this motor anyway, because it slows you down completely. You really don't need brake, because once you turn, it grips the ground in the front and it slows you down. So that's a good thing unless you're going full speed. But yeah, and I'm going to go with that on the front too with these shocks here. I'm going to, all they are is just old shocks that I had the springs out of those from a 110 scale, and I just squoze them in there. I'm thinking actually cutting them down a bit too. You can use wire cutters, but I would suggest using a grinder or so, whereas you'll get a smoother cut, I should say. And also too, the shock oil. You might just want to take it easy on that stuff because there's really no need. And if you're going to try something like this, try this first before you start taking anything apart. As far as where they stash oil, and it probably has a better seal than you'll put back on there. You know, not saying, you know, don't have any faith in your work, because if you're going to sit here and do this, then you might want to just have some faith in yourself, because it's very simple. There's videos for everything out here. Also, too, I'm going to look up to see if I can get a better bumper. I don't pretty much too much like this one here. Or I would just end up adding I have a foam from actual car bumpers, whereas though what I did with my Volcano, and I'll show you actually, it's out of car bumpers. You see an accident, and I guess it's, you know, kind of bad for them, you know, but something like this pops out. And you can use this actually. You just have to get you a knife and cut. A razor blade, it'll slice right through this. This is how this cuts real even. So I just took a razor blade. The razor blade wasn't long enough, so you see how I kind of hacked it on this side here, but it's a smooth cut. And what you do is you cut and you take a piece and you just unscrew these screw here, unscrew that screw, and slide it on. However big you want, but I would say just making sure you can clear your shocks here. Clear your shocks. Don't make it too long. Just clear that area, because also your wheels have to turn in. So I would actually start maybe here and to here with that, and that's what I'm gonna do actually. Like I said, it'll give you more cushion. It's not like your whole system is getting hit when you go head on. If you bash and do a headstand or something like that, yeah, it's a little less pressure. And like I said, with my Volcanoes, I've had it in there. I had it in my Blackout when the Blackout has that little oval shaped bumper guard on there. So that cracked, and I put it in there, and the Blackout still has the original bumper. I just took it out because I was working on it, and you know, let's say I hadn't been driving that in a while, or my Volcano. I like to leave those sitting in, because those were the beginning of all of this. And it's going to be, I guess I'm going to just make that my trophy, just to sit to the side. And that's just off the Redcat brand. Pretty soon I'll jump to another brand and give you a couple runs on that, which I looked at Exceed RC, or RC Exceed, however you say it, and I have one of theirs, but their models are almost built like the Redcat brand, so I want to probably go into a different brand, a different chassis, everything set up. Usually the castle and everything else is all the same in cars, but I just want to go with that hole from here to here, and then maybe bottom half arms. But yeah, so back to my shocks. What I'm going to end up doing is that, and actually you can reduce the oil, you know, when you do that too, actually, because those shocks do give it a nice little bounce, whereas though you don't have to turn these all the way down or turn them all the way up. You can leave them just where they are, and it'll just push the shock oil through. But before it bottoms out in any kind of way, you'll get a little resistance from the spring. So that's a real good thing for me. And it's my little fish sticks. I'm BSing around down here, but that's it. Yeah, I'm kind of off because my shock in the front, so it looks kind of weird. But yeah, okay. See, that's not even, this is high. And this is the high as I guess it'll go, I guess, if you want to look underneath. But there it is. Like I said, the shocks really, and that click means my shocks just got on. I have to bend those back. I haven't ran it on this really much, But yeah, it really actually works. And so now, right about now, it's hitting the springs. Shock oil is not even kicking in yet. Then once it goes past the springs, the shock oil should be kicking in and actually no bottoming out. Shock's fully extended, so it's really not too much pressure, you know. So it's not a bad move, guys. I would do this in a lot of things that you intend on bashing. I haven't took this out bashing yet, really, as far as serious things off of a 6-footer or whatever. That's my bashing. But yeah, I haven't took anything up that high. Took this up that high yet, just because I want to make sure I got that motor and that ECS right. You know, my fans, they're still there. They haven't went anywhere. They've been keeping my temperature down as far as, I would say, maybe hit 100. When the summertime comes, it'll probably get to like 105, 107, and that's about it. Grease, as you can see, these still look brand new as far as me greasing these things here. And like I said, what I do every once in a while is I'll show you. And this is the grease that I use here. It's kind of off right now, guys. But yeah, I don't have the brand on there or nothing like that. But as you can see, I got it from Walmart. And I'll just take just a dab. And people cry about, oh, you're supposed to put grease on it and it'll just sling everywhere. Well, this is what I've been doing, guys. And that's it. Now, anybody else want to complain about grease? Whereas though I can just sit here and just run the wheel a couple times, couple times, couple times, couple times. It's not too serious, guys. It's just grease. See? And I just run it through a couple times. Spin the wheel. You can take one wheel back and forward. And that's about it. So, and what that does is, for me driving in this dirt and all of those things, that the dirt, it dries these parts out. Now, I was using WD-42, but the WD-40, I just didn't want to deal with the grease because I was eating and doing other things with that. So maybe I'll put my RCs first instead of eating all the time while I'm trying to do this crap. But I mean, it works. No water issues, nothing like that. I'll put the heat shrink on this one. Give me a minute for that. I have some upstairs. And I also had a problem too at a time. This spring popped off and I thought I lost it, but it was up in here. So when this spring popped, I don't know, somehow or another, it shot in here and was just caught in there and just going around. So, and that's been the only problem I've had. As far as, you know, like I said, when I got it for 300. You know, that was a plus. The servo was bad, but I already had one. You know, I got reimbursed for that one that I put in there, you know. So that was a plus. And that was it. I guess that was it. Yeah, that was it. I thought I had a problem with the servo, but the servo actually, I mean, not the servo, wait a minute, no, I replaced the servo was bad, and I had a spare one, so they reimbursed me with that. Now, with the receiver, I thought that the receiver was bad, but it just so happened that I ran in some water and it shot up in there before I even put the tape or anything on it. You know, to keep the water from running and all like that. That's why I flex seal and all, to give it runoff and catch water in certain areas. You know, I say when I'm putting the tape on, I also bend the tape because I know the water, like in some space, you know, the water is going to run in your car. It's going to hit this here and go up and hit this area here. And then from here, it's going to come down. This is where your ESC, servo, your ESC and batteries are. So you don't want that water running off of this, going in the body, getting thrown up, and just dropping straight up into your car. Which, as you can see, you know, that's like right in that area. So, and here, if you know the shredder, you can look. So, Like I said, what I do is create little ripples, and those little trails right there, it helps. All of those little lumps and all of that, it stops water from getting back there. Because what it do, it'll catch and hit these spots and drip off and go in other directions instead of straight down this slope. Like I'm pouring it and it'll drip go this way. It'll drip go that way, drip go this way, all down the side. It'll get back here, but it's not a constant, like a waterfall. So, hey guys. And I have a bunch more in the front too. But like I said, when you're driving these things, the water it goes to the back. You see it actually. So, yeah. For the guys who like those rooster tails, yeah, you might want to try that a couple times or so. At least try what I'm saying. It helps. And also, too, another idea you can do, which will stop water from actually getting all inside of your car. I'll come up and show you. You have the window insulation, whereas though you put it around the edges of your doors and things like that, or your windows when air comes in. You could take that and just hang a piece. Hang a piece right across the front. A thin piece. You don't want it too low, but up high, because you know your water is going to get thrown up in the car. So when it gets thrown up in the car, you put it maybe like right here somewhere. It's just a thin strip about maybe this thick. This wide. And it'll hit that. Believe it, it'll hit that. But make sure you don't have it lined up with, electronics like motors and things like that. So you judge where it's going to go. And where's your water pattern going to go. And then that's it. And then you should be good to go for a while. Like I said, these things, I wouldn't bother the water too much with these things, even though, I do. But if I were you, and not trying to just get out here and you just like the cars and to drive them and things like that, you don't have to jump them and all of those things, because all of those things will cost you money too. So just be careful. Any questions, you can always post a question. Any questions, you can always post your question on here and I'll get back with you. But yeah, I'll get back with you ASAP. It's just nothing. This is one of the things that I do on a regular. So yeah. You might want to just post a question. But other than that, I think that was pretty much it. And also, too, with these shocks, don't go getting aggravated, because these shocks, when you're putting them in, you have to kind of jimmy the... Oh, wow. And that was... And you have to kind of jimmy the little arm in there, because it's not too even. So you have to come like downward and upward, and then you pretty much got it. And then just screw in kind of easy. And that's about it. And just make sure you're lined up, because you don't want to strip nothing, that doesn't need to be stripped. And this is that simple for you guys here. Let me see. Yeah, we're lined up. And then I usually just go in slow. And it's best when you're I know with other tools for these things, but for the shock areas and in the shock area, I would want to use like an Allen wrench, because I don't want too much. You wouldn't want too much torque going into that, grinding away things. When you mess up, you'll get more of a full turn and end up grinding things than these short bursts of turns that I'm doing. So yeah, and that's more or less a good idea. And that's just about enough when you can just go like that. It turned and stopped, and that's it. This side is already in, but you can always double check, because you have to check your parts. Now they say check them before you go out, but I check as I'm working on it and make sure I put things back. And that's a plus for me. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you next time. Custom Built for Play. Like, subscribe, guys. We need you out here. Trying to hit that 1,000. Get at me. Custom Built for Play, go mode.